Justice Chase uh, had the awesome responsibility of adjudicating on a very, very weighty matter of a very, very tight window of time. Um, and the significance of this case, which sought to look into the validity of the Senate, uh, lay in the fact that, however the judge ruled, either the Senate would proceed with its business or the work of the Senate would simply not be able to go on. Justice Chase has just completed giving her decision, and that decision was entirely in favor of the government side. And it therefore means, in essence, that Justice Chase has ruled that the Senate, with 18 members, is validly constituted and can meet to do its business, which is what it's here for. Um, I think that this decision uh, is important, and while there's been no prohibition against the Senate meeting, the fact is that for the Senate to have met while this case was going on would still have cast a pall over its decisions. And there are some members who might have felt uncomfortable meeting and carrying out business in a situation where it would have been possible for the court to rule that the actions would have been invalid or could have been invalid. I want to thank my legal team. There's been a lot of discussion of the size of that legal team, but the fact of the matter is that this case uh, was of tremendous importance to the ability of the government to work, and especially given the limited window, because the Senate must meet and vote off on the government's estimates, and that must happen before the end of March. So the ramifications of the Senate not being able to meet would quite simply have been that the country would virtually grind to a halt, because we could only be able to pay debt and wages, so that there'd be no gasoline available to put in the ambulances or to put in the police cars. There'd be no money to pay electricity to keep our schools open or to keep our hospitals open. So I think it was a good decision for me to have taken a decision to find the best legal minds in Barbados to grapple with what was a very weighty legal issue. And I want to thank them. They've put in lots of sleepless nights. This legal team, as you would know, was headed by Adrian Cummins QC. It included Roger Ford QC, Alwyn Scott QC, Leslie Haynes QC, uh, yes, Gregory Nichols as well, and then of course there were a number of junior lawyers, both from within SG's chambers and from the private bar, and together they made a wonderful team that has really delivered on what was and what remains a weighty legal problem. The judge has determined that, notwithstanding her decision that the Senate, there's nothing stopping the Senate from meeting, that there were some issues in relation to judicial review that, should the other side still want to press on with, she'll be prepared to hear them. So the case is not entirely finished yet, but for the important purposes of the Parliament of Barbados being able to get on with its business, and subject to any appeals that might be filed, the way is clear really for the Senate of Barbados to meet now, and I expect that they'll be meeting as early as Thursday or Friday.